What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy Chef, and we are back. You already know what time it is. It is time for the YAK Pod episode number 77. Now, you already know what we're gonna get into today. If you looked at the thumbnail, you seen it. It's more of the same as what we were talking about yesterday, but we gotta go a little bit more in depth with the reactions, a little bit more in depth with the numbers. Before we go ahead and get into everything, shout out to John F. and Lord and Mile Marker. Appreciate you guys for being back once again. These are my day ones, and when I blow up, you blow up. You already know what it is. But let's go ahead and get right to it, man. We're talking about Jared Goff. Now, we all know that Jared Goff got the massive extension yesterday. We all know it was 4 years, $212 million. But just as I've been telling you, I want to say for years, but just as I've been telling you guys for a long time, NFL contracts, more than anything else, more than any other league in sports, the devil is in the details. The devil is in the details. Jared Goff's signing bonus, $72 million. $72 million. Now, what do you think that means? Is it a different number other than his contract, outside of his contract? No. It's all part of his contract. So he got $170 million guaranteed. Well, there goes $72 million of that $170 million guaranteed, which means he has what? $98 million more guaranteed. And his extension hasn't even started yet. Right? He got $72 million for signing on the dotted line. Now, when his extension actually starts, $98 million is what's guaranteed. Now, I believe it was either Justifan or John F. and Lord yesterday in the chat that said he has $42 million per year guaranteed, which is in the 7th spot for quarterbacks. Now, how much does he have a year guaranteed? Guaranteed yearly average, which doesn't mean a whole lot, but we're just going to break it down. Guaranteed yearly average is less than $20 million. Are we? No. A little bit more. Less than $25 million. Sorry. It's less than $25 million. Right? Because if it's a 4-year extension, if he had $100 million remaining in his guarantees, it would be $25 million per year. Now it's less than that. Right? It's about, quick math, 24.5. Yeah, about $24.5 million per year, which is his guaranteed amount of money. So we've dropped his per year guaranteed amount of money by almost $20 million. Now, what do you think that's going to do for his cap hit? Probably going to drop that thing pretty low. So if I'm looking at this correctly, you know how this year his cap hit is $32 million? What if by giving him the $72 million as a signing bonus, there you go. Right? Now, Ron Roy says, wait, 170 million. No. We are not doing it 170 million. Because remember, the big thing is that 72 million is already in his account. That was a signing bonus. The signing bonus is not stretching out over the life of the contract. So the signing bonus is already gone. It's accounted for. So we're at 98 million. We're not at 170 million anymore for guaranteed money. You understand what I'm saying? So when his contract actually kicks in, when the extension kicks in, he will be owed 98 million of more guaranteed money. 72 million of that guaranteed is already gone. It's in his account, right? So, what do you think his cap hit will be? Remember how he made 32 million? His cap hit this year is 32 million. What if his cap hit is about 35 million over the life of this deal? I'm telling people, man, let Mike Disner cook. We let Brad Holmes cook during the draft. Now it's time to let Mike Disner cook for this contract. These people, Mike Disner, Brad Holmes, Sheila Ford Hamp, Chris Spillman, Dan Campbell, all the people that had anything to do with anything, understood that you were not going to pay a quarterback against your cap $53 million a year. Right? They understood that. John F. and Laura says 22 million-ish a year. If it's 22 million a year, if that's his cap hit, bro, what is the problem? What is the problem? Now we're getting into the minutia. We're getting into how does Jared Goff compare to Matthew Stafford and things of this nature, and all these things that have been talked about, which I don't know why, because Matthew Stafford is no longer here. Would the team be better if Matthew Stafford was here? I don't know. But what I do know is that Matthew Stafford had a hell of a team in 2014. Matthew Stafford had a wonderful offense in 2014. Say what you will about Brandon Pettigrew. I'm going to tell you that Brandon Pettigrew is better than a Brock Wright. Yeah, I think he's better than all of the tight ends that we have on this team, not named Sam Laporta. So he was your starter out there. Had Sue, we had Fairley, we had Megatron, we had James Ahedebo, we had Glover Quinn. Like, we had pieces on both sides of the ball. We had pieces on both sides of the ball. And Matthew Stafford couldn't win a playoff game with those pieces. So then now you have to say that all the pieces around Jared Goff are so much better than the ones that Matthew Stafford had. That doesn't make sense. If you look at the defense from last year, where was your Sue? Where was your Fairley? Where was your Ziggy Ansah? Where was your what was that dude's name on the other side? Who was it? Jason Hunter, who was decent, you know. He wasn't a James Houston or anything like that, but like, where were your people? The defense last year was bad. It wasn't a great defense. And that was mostly in the secondary. Cam Sutton Toast, right? Cliff Averill, thank you. All right, Cliff Averill. Where's your Cliff Averill? I mean, so that defense that Matthew Stafford had, especially the defensive line, was eons better than what we had. We had Hutch and Ali McNeil. That's it. That's what we had. We didn't have James Houston because James Houston was hurt. Okay? James Houston was hurt, so we didn't have him. We had, like, the Okwara brothers and Charles Harris, who was a healthy scratch like every week. We had Josh Pascal, who was in and out of the. We had Benito Jones. We had stuff going on with Isaiah Buggs the whole year. Didn't really understand what was going on with him. Maybe he thought he had arrived and he wasn't given the effort, and he was no longer a Brad Campbell guy. Yes. Ranjiv, I know you're new. Shout out for coming. Thank you. But Brad Campbell is on purpose. I know it's Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes, but I like to put them together. Like Quinn Trisha. I don't get the credit, but I'm the first person that called them Quinn Trisha. I am never heard it anywhere before, and I just was like Quinn Trisha, and then there it was. But so we had a lot of pieces on that defense, and the offense was ready to go, and we couldn't win a playoff game. So Jared Goff comes in with a worse defense, fantastic offense. Can't take anything away from the offense, but Jared Goff comes in with a worse defense, and we won 2.5, 2.5 playoff games. I know that half doesn't count. Like, we won the first half of the NFC Championship game, but we didn't win the second half, which is we really needed to win both of those halves to win the game. But so we won 2.5 playoff games with Goff in 3 years. In 12 years with Matthew Stafford, nothing. We won nothing. So for the people that are upset about Jared Goff and his contract, I don't get it. So when you look at Twitter and you look out, David is here, welcome. When you look at Twitter and you look at all of the reactions, I heard, shout out Woodward Heavyweights. I think it was it wasn't the Heavies. It was the Woo Crew, right? The morning show. I heard that someone's neighbor went outside and burned a Lions jersey in the front lawn because he was so upset that Goff got extended. Bro, I don't understand. At what point did Goff both take us to the NFC Championship game and lose the NFC Championship game? At what point did that happen? When did Jared Goff lose us that game? And when was he not a large part of the game? Josh Allen is supposed to be a top 3 quarterback. His stats were lower than Jared Goff. Jared Goff threw for 40 out of Lamar Jackson, who was the MVP, Patrick Mahomes, who's entering the GOAT conversation, Josh Allen, who's a top 3 quarterback, and Jared Goff. Jared Goff had the best stats out of all of them. He matched Patrick Mahomes with the touchdowns and the interceptions, right? That were both, I believe they were both 30 and 12. Now, there's context, obviously, with Lamar Jackson. You're going to talk about his legs. He had 24 and 7, right? But obviously he had at least 6 or 7 rushing touchdowns, right? So that's his MVP year. Patrick Mahomes goes on and he wins the Super Bowl, but we beat Patrick Mahomes in the first game of the season, and Jared Goff has never lost to Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen, his lone matchup with Jared Goff, that was Goff's fault that we did lose that game. We did have DJ Chark wide open, and Jared Goff threw the wrong pass. I don't know if DJ Chark ran the wrong route. We'll never know that unless they do a 30 for 30 on that game. But you know what? When you see him wide open, you got to put it on him. I don't care what route he was supposed to run. He was wide open. And that's what we needed him to do, and he got wide open. But, I mean, if you look at the turnovers, since Josh Allen came in the league, him and Jared Goff are 1 and 2 for the turnovers that Jared Goff has been in the league. Okay, fine. Jared Goff has 1 losing season. 1. And that was his rookie year with the awful coach in Jeff Fisher. Jeff Fisher's an awful coach. He proved that when he went to I don't think it was the USFL at the time. I think he was coaching the Michigan Panthers. The Michigan Panthers were absolute and utter garbage. This year, I believe they're making the playoffs. They've clinched a spot in the playoffs, according to Twitter, because the UFL does a very terrible job in marketing. I have not seen a single ad, a single tweet about the UFL from the UFL. The only thing that I see generally is Jake Bates Motel smashing 70 plus yard field goals. That's the only thing that I see from the UFL, and it is not even from the UFL. It's from retweets and tweets of the videos from Lions fans because we want this guy to be in Detroit and to remain in Detroit. So it's not even from the UFL. I don't know what they're doing, but their marketing department needs to do a much, much better job. And in it as well, anytime I see the stands of the UFL, the stands are like empty. Okay, when you watch Jake Bates kick in Ford Field, you see nothing but blue seats. Not fans, blue seats. All right. So anyway, Jeff Fisher is awful. He was an awful coach. And he was the reason that Jared Goff had the losing season there. Obviously, he comes back in after being benched. He had surgery on his thumb or whatever. And then what's the guy's name? I think it was John Warford or Wolford, right? He was the one that replaced him. He got knocked out of the playoff game in Seattle. Goff came in and won that game. And then he, for some reason, was just terrible and needed to be traded off of that type of performance in the playoffs. But like I said, so he threw for 4,500 yards this season, 30 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. But he is the guy that out of all four of those quarterbacks, I wouldn't mind him being the weakest link. But just by saying, okay, in these four quarterbacks, Jared Goff, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. Okay, cool. But to say that he is just like trash for people to be burning jerseys, why would you burn a jersey after being in the NFC Championship game with a chance to win and possibly two passes that your quarterback that you hate so much put right on the receiver? Those two passes possibly could have stemmed the tide, or actually the first one was part of the momentum. It was part of the momentum going to the San Francisco 49ers. It was part of it. Had Josh Reynolds not dropped that pass, what is the momentum? We go down there, we get 3 points, we get 7, whatever the case may be. That onslaught that the 49ers put on us coming out of halftime, we just needed to stem the tide. That drive that Josh Reynolds killed, we just needed to stem the tide. That other drive that Josh Reynolds killed, we just needed to stem the tide. We needed to strike. We needed to score. We didn't score until the last 2 minutes of the game when J-Mo caught that one in the end zone. Shout out to the J-Mo haters, by the way. 2 touchdowns in NFC Championship game. Man, listen, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't do predictions because I don't know the future and I'll never claim to know the future. But if J-Mo has the breakout season that I believe he can have, y'all going to get it. Y'all are going to get anybody who's hating on J-Mo. And there's one guy in particular, and I won't say his name because I'm not going to give him, I ain't got a lot of shine yet, but I'm not going to give him the shine. I'm not going to say his name, but I'm going to be insufferable. He's not going to hear the last of it from me. Please believe it. And all you guys who watch the heavies and watch Woodward Sports, you know exactly who I am talking about. Justin Fan says, ask Easy, it was Goff's fault. Dr. Detroit, nice to see you here, man. Says Brad cooked. Now let's see if we like the meal. Hey, we love the meal. We already love the meal. I mean, the meal got us to the NFC Championship game in 3 years from 3-13-1. From 3-13-1, and then we are in the NFC Championship game with a large chance to win that thing. Okay? Yes, Justin Fan, Mr. Plaid. Mr. Plaid is not going to hear it He's not going to hear the end of it from me. I will be tweeting him. I will be calling in. Hell, I will even invite him onto the pod. Okay? I will invite him onto the pod and ask him to explain himself. Explain yourself. Please. You have the floor. Explain to me why Jameson Williams is trash now. Explain that to me. Explain to me why you said live on air that you could not see any talent in Jameson Williams. Please explain. I need you to explain that to everybody. Okay? Everybody. We need an explanation. But like I said, the Jared Goff, Brad is a Michelin star chef. 100%. I agree. Michelin star chef. Brad Holmes drafts. Okay? Brad Holmes drafts have been fantastic. Look at his first draft. He got Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown. In his first draft. Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra St. Brown. And he also got Iffy, who finally was able to get on the field consistently and not deal with the injuries. If he was a big part of us getting to the NFC, not getting to the NFC, well, obviously getting to the NFC Championship game, but if he was a big part of us clinching the division, he literally clinched it himself. Just like Derek Barnes, right? Shout out Derek Barnes, greatest linebacker in NFL in Detroit Lions history, who single-handedly took us by himself. Single-handedly took us to the NFC Championship game. I'm being sarcastic, but shout out Derek Barnes. Then in his second draft, wait. In the first draft, he also got Aleem McNeil. So he got Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Aleem McNeil, and Iffy. Okay, so now what did he missed on Levi Onwuzurike? I just named you 5 picks, or I named you 5 picks, and he hit on 4 of them. I named you 5 picks, and he hit on 4 of them. Okay, his second draft. The electrician Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, I think he's pretty good, right? Brian Branch, he's pretty good, I would say. Hendon Hooker, we don't know. But here's the thing. So many people are angry that Goff got an extension and he got paid all of this money, okay, that's going to cripple our cap because Hendon Hooker is there. And we know Hendon Hooker was going to be the guy that won the Heisman until he got injured. So we already know that. All right. Now, like I said, he got the electrician Jahmyr Gibbs. He got Brian Branch, who's pretty good, right? He got Sam Laporta. He's pretty good. We don't know what Broderick Martin is going to be. But we see that he's going through a body transformation as well. And he looks like he's ready to put the work in. He's actually been putting the work in. We've got DJ Reader now, who can't wait to get his hands on Broderick Martin and mentor him and shape him and mold him. And then we got Jack Campbell. Now, say what you will about Jack Campbell. Linebackers, especially now with all the coverage assignments and things like that, linebackers, it's harder for them to pop right away. Right? It's harder for the linebacker to jump off the screen and really, really impact the game right away. But guess what happened with Jack Campbell? Captain Jack, as they call him. He had almost 100 tackles. So he had a slow start to his rookie season and then still finished with almost 100 tackles. Jahmyr Gibbs had a slow start to his rookie season and still finished with almost 1,000 yards rushing, but over 1,000 yards all-purpose. And I don't know if you guys have seen the video going around on Twitter. Jahmyr Gibbs has been getting those hands right in the offseason. Obviously, the footwork is crazy, but he's been getting those hands right in the offseason. And if Jahmyr Gibbs takes those hands and takes better timing with Jared Goff into the season, it's going to be trouble. It's going to be trouble. It is not going to be pretty for defenses around the NFL. Okay, but back to Brad Holmes' draft picks. So again, there's a common theme here. Getting four guys that are like really effective in every draft. I mean, the four in the first draft, Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Aleem McNeil. Oh, what? How did I forget James Houston? How did I forget James Houston? A guy who, yes, he got cut and then he got brought back and he was on the practice squad, but then he got an opportunity. And when he got that opportunity, he played in 7 games and had 8 sacks. He played in 7 games and had 8 sacks. How? Mr. 6th round pick? He had 19 sacks in one season, but it was only the SWAC because there's no competition in the SWAC. He had 19 sacks in a season in college. That's all you need to know. 19 sacks in college. Unless you're playing in Division 7, okay, where your college is like a middle school. Unless you're playing in the lowest divisions available, 19 sacks in a season is crazy. Okay? And then he showed that could translate to the NFL. Not exactly 19 sacks, but he had 8 in 7 games. Now imagine if he played 7 more games. Now, I'm not going to say that he would have had 16 sacks. I'm not going to say that he would have doubled the production. That's kind of crazy to say that a rookie would have had 16 sacks if he would have played in just 14 games. All right? But we had that guy. And then Iffy as well, like I said. So that's 5 impact players from the first draft. The second draft, we know the 4 that he got. Like I said, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, Brian Branch, Captain Jack. All right. Now we're going into this draft. We don't know what that's going to be, but Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw are projected to be the future of the cornerback position in Detroit. And they have a great opportunity to learn behind Carlton Davis, who is a veteran, who is a self-proclaimed shutdown corner, who comes in and says, I'm going to do what I'm here to do, and I'm going to lock down one side of the field. I mean, we would have, if Terrion Arnold winds up starting on the other side of Carlton Davis, do you know we would have the most confident, the most verbally confident secondary in the history of the NFL? I mean, thank you, Roy. Vaki, who was one of my favorite players in the draft, Dr. Vok, we will call him. All right, live long and prosper, Dr. Vok. You already know. Man, I mean, the sky's the limit for that guy. He is obviously he's going to be a special teams demon. I honestly don't want to see him regularly on the defense because if he's regularly playing safety, I feel like somebody got hurt. So I don't really want to see that happen. But I would like to see some packages with Vaki on the field. At running back, I mean, I like him at running back because, I mean, he was averaging like 7 yards per carry, something like 10 yards per touch because he was doing a lot of wheel routes where he was just going up the sideline and feasting on those safeties. But at the NFL level, I don't know what he's going to be as a running back. And I really don't, I'm really not too concerned about him being a running back. But I would like to see, I would like to see Vaki, Gibbs, and Montgomery on the field at the same time. We could call it the Inspector Gadget package. Okay? The Inspector Gadget package. Because if you see those three guys on the field at the same time, lined up in the full house formation, you don't know what's going on. You don't know what's about to happen. You don't know what's about to happen. I mean, you could send Jahmyr Gibbs and Vaki on wheel routes, double wheels, and just hit David Montgomery up the middle, right? And as the middle of that defense opens up to cover those two wheel routes, David Montgomery's got a seam, and he's got it up for 10 yards. I just, there's so much that can be done. All right, Justin Fan, we will see you later. Appreciate you coming out. There's so much that can be done, man, with the roster flexibility, with the versatility that Brad Holmes has brought in here and created. I mean, if you just look at all the moves that Brad Holmes has made, how can you be upset with Jared Goff? How can you be upset with that? Like, how can you be upset with the Jared Goff contract? And maybe the greatest thing about the contract is that it is flexible. It is flexible. If you need to get out from under the contract, it's been front loaded like crazy. Like I said, for those of you that weren't here in the beginning, I talked about how he got $72 million already as a signing bonus. He got $72 million. That's accounted for already. His extension doesn't kick in until next year, if it's a true extension, right? And by next year, I mean 2025. I don't mean this upcoming season. So I'm not, again, I don't understand, like, the polarization that is happening amongst the fans. Like, I think we all saw how far this team got. And then the people that don't want Goff getting this deal or were upset about getting this deal, here's the logic. And I'm going to run this down because I know what the logic is. And then we have to poke holes in that logic. Jared Goff got to a Super Bowl. Jared Goff wasn't the reason that they got to the Super Bowl. Jared Goff was carried to the Super Bowl. And then, like, a couple seasons later, he was moved on from. All right, cool. Here's the thing. Jared Goff was carried in the Super Bowl, to the Super Bowl by the running game. Did Todd Gurley play in that Super Bowl? If my memory serves me correctly, he was injured. Right? So if you have an offensive game plan predicated on play action, and your best running back is injured, and you have the backup in who is not scaring the other defense, who is Bill Belichick's defense, by the way, that play action game, that game plan that you've been riding throughout the year to get you to the Super Bowl is no longer available. So now you have to pivot. You have to do something different. And Bill Belichick says, well, because the play action isn't available, that's less that we have to prepare for. Let's take this secondary thing away. All right. If you're getting 2 yards a carry, play action is not working. It doesn't work when you don't have any production from the running game. Jared Goff now has a running game, which is historical, right? Two running backs, the only two running backs ever in the history of the NFL to go over 1,000+ all-purpose yards or yards from scrimmage. I don't want to say all-purpose because all-purpose would also include special teams, but scrimmage yards. So the only two running backs in the history of football to go over 1,000+ scrimmage yards and 10+ rushing touchdowns. That's what's behind Jared Goff right now. So when you want to talk about play action, and then you want to talk about a guy like J-Mo, listen, I know I'm getting excited with the J-Mo thing, but listen, if you have that man one-on-one, because there are going to be times when defenses choose. The defensive coordinator, it's a pick your poison. You're like, all right, man, this middle is killing us, right? This Amon-Ra St. Brown and this Sam Laporta eating in the middle, it's killing us. We have to stop that. Hey, man, we're going to put somebody one-on-one on J-Mo and just hope. We're going to hope and pray. Okay? You do that, all right? But here's the thing. When you have a speedster like J-Mo, and I played cornerback, when you have a speedster like J-Mo, that cushion is different. That cushion is different. Yeah, it's not no 2-3 yard cushion. It's 5, 6, 7 yards, okay? You might be off him like a running back. And then guess what that does? If you are, let's say if you are 5 yards off of J-Mo, and he starts screaming at you, you're bailing because you don't want him to get on top of you. You're bailing. And then guess what happens when you bail? He gets to that 5 yards, breaks it down, hits a slant across the middle. Now there's going to be a hole in the defense because why? The middle was already designated. That zone, the linebackers, safeties, maybe they bring a safety down to help that coverage. You're now behind that coverage. You could run a 7. You could run a corner, right? You could run a post. My bad, I'm thinking post. You can run a post, right? 10 yards. You are behind that zone, which was created to cover Sam Laporta and Amon-Ra St. Brown. And you're thinking that J-Mo is running a go because he is screaming off that line like he's selling it. And then he breaks down at 10 and hits across the field running that post. Bro, good luck. Good luck because he's already behind you. You understand what I'm saying? Like I said, it's a pick your poison. So sometimes the defense is going to give you the middle, and if you give us the middle, Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to eat, Sam Laporta's going to eat, and then sometimes the defense is going to take away the middle and give you the outside. And if you have the right plays called, and I have very high level of confidence in Ben Johnson to call the right plays, right? If you have the right plays called and you have the right scheme schemed up, Jameson Williams is going to eat you alive. There are not too many there are not too many corners that are going to be able to cover that type of speed one-on-one. This is why you see guys like Nate Wiggins and Quinyon Mitchell get drafted in the first round, right? Because Nate Wiggins is a twig, and I don't know that he's going to be able. He's definitely not shedding any blocks, right? He's definitely not shedding any blocks. Even if J-Mo's blocking, Nate Wiggins ain't shedding that block. We know J-Mo. We know how he blocks. You got Donovan Peoples-Jones, who's a beast. If he's out there blocking, you know. But the only thing that J-Mo would need to really improve to get this version of the offense is his route running. That's it. And he's been working. He's been working all summer. He's been with I can't say summer, right? Off season. He's been working all off season with Teddy Bridgewater down in Florida. Just putting in the work, working on his hands, working on his timing, working on his routes, working on his chemistry, and obviously Teddy Bridgewater being Jared Goff's backup, he knows what Jared Goff likes. People forget about that. Like, why is he preparing with Teddy Bridgewater? Because Teddy Bridgewater was the guy that helped Jared Goff prepare for games. Teddy Bridgewater knows what Jared Goff likes to do. He knows what he sees. This is part of a backup quarterback's job. The backup quarterback is not just there for, if you get injured, I'm going to go in the game. Or if we're blowing somebody out, I'm going to go in the game. Or if we're getting blown out and you're just waving the white flag, I'm going to go in the game. No, the backup quarterback's job, week in and week out, day in and day out, is to help prepare the quarterback, right? Obviously, he helps to prepare the defense by giving them look on scout team or whatever. But the backup quarterback is like a coach on the field. His job is preparation. Quarterback over here, defense over here. That's what a backup quarterback's job is. So it was crazy to pay Chase Daniels $10 million a year as a backup quarterback. But I think, what did Teddy make? Did he make like 6 or something like that? That's not crazy. Backup quarterbacks do a lot. They do a lot of work. Like, everybody thinks they're just holding a clipboard and standing around on the sidelines. That's on Sundays, right? That's not on, the rest of the days during the week. In the meetings, they have a role, again, in that quarterback room, in the room, they're like a coach. So, again, getting off topic, right? This J-Mo thing, like I said, there's so much reason to be excited about what J-Mo can do in this offense. That is why Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are excited about Jameson Williams. They know what kind of offense they have. They know the weapons they have, and they know the work that he's putting in because they see it. So anyone on the outside who is not agreeing with both Dan Campbell, who is his coach, Brad Holmes, who is the GM that scouted him and did the work on him and drafted him, when both of those guys are saying he has gotten to a point where we fully 100% expect him to be the number 2 wide receiver on this team, I don't know why you would discount it. I don't know what you would doubt it for, because they said it. It's not like players are saying it, even though players know what they're talking about. They can see, they know who's good and who's not good. And if the players were coming out and saying, oh, yeah, we fully expect him to be number 2 wide receiver, okay, maybe you take it with a grain of salt because maybe it's relationship based. Maybe he's just a locker room guy and everybody loves him. They want to see him get his shot. No. This is Dan Campbell, the coach, the guy that's responsible for who plays and who doesn't play. Brad Holmes, the GM, the guy who was responsible in conjunction with Brad Campbell and, their whole organizational structure, which is very conducive to success. But he's the guy that goes, well, this guy needs to be on our team. And those are the 2 guys that are giving high praise to Jameson Williams. His work ethic, what he can do, his ability, where he is right now, they're giving him high praise. So anybody that's got J-Mo hate and doesn't believe in J-Mo and breakout season, I don't know what to tell you, man. You just have to watch and see. But so before this, when we went off, we were talking about elite level memory, right? We were talking about Jared Goff getting to the Super Bowl. So Jared Goff gets to the Super Bowl because he's got all this stuff around him. Like I said, Todd Gurley didn't play in the Super Bowl. Offense was different. Okay, Jared Goff got to the Super Bowl not because he was any good. He wasn't any good. And he was the reason that they lost that Super Bowl. Okay, cool. All right. Now, if Jared Goff was any good, he wouldn't have got traded by Sean McVay. Now, let me tell you a little bit of something about Sean McVay. Sean McVay didn't have the patience to develop a quarterback. Sean McVay has never developed a quarterback in the NFL. Sean McVay was a micromanager. He was micromanaging Jared Goff. Remember, there were reports coming out that Sean McVay, you have a certain amount of time where you can talk to the quarterback. All right, appreciate you coming through, John F. and Lord. I saw that late, but yeah, appreciate you, and have a great day at work or a great night at work. But anyway, Sean McVay was talking to Jared Goff in his helmet up until the last second, like he was getting cut off. Okay, that is not development. Sean McVay did not allow Jared Goff to call audibles when he got to the line. Sean McVay put audibles in that he had to call. Like, he'd be like, okay, you're going to call the audible if you see this, that, and the third thing. That's cool. That's what you do in practice so that a quarterback can understand what he's seeing when he sees it. It's called muscle memory, right? Repetition is how we all learn and do things. So if we had a math teacher, if you will, and the math teacher just kept giving us the answers, we wouldn't be very good at math because we never had to think for ourselves. We never had to put what we're learning into practice. The math teacher says 2 + 2 is 4, and you go, okay, right? Addition, division, multiplication, subtraction, all these things are not really what we're thinking about because you're telling us the answers. So this is what happened. So Jared Goff was not developed in Los Angeles. So now he comes to Detroit. He's garbage, this, that, and that. And I would admit, openly and freely, his first year of Detroit, I wanted him out of Detroit. Out. I was like, Jared Goff, hell of a guy, nice guy. I mean, you don't have to go home, but you got to get the hell up out of here. You know what I mean? I was like, he can be my starting bench quarterback, meaning he got to be second string, meaning we need to draft somebody else, trade, do something, because he is not the answer. This was year number 1. But behind the scenes, what was happening with Jared Goff is that once they got Anthony Lynn out of here, and once Ben Johnson kind of filled in and then took over, and then he's sitting down with Goff and he's like, what do you like to do? And they kind of built the offense around what Jared Goff likes to do. And then at the same time, Mark Brunell is teaching him how to read coverages and how to change protections and when to change protections and know what to call. Basically developing him into the quarterback that you saw take us to the NFC Championship game. So the logic behind Jared Goff has to have everything around him perfect, and Jared Goff isn't worth the money because when he went to the Super Bowl, it wasn't due to him. Makes no sense. It makes no sense because when Jared Goff went to the Super Bowl, he wasn't the quarterback that he was when he went to the NFC Championship game. He got farther being a lesser than quarterback than he did being a very competent, very able, very good, top 10 quarterback in this league. And again, as I said, you can argue that Jared Goff is top 5. When we go down the list of quarterbacks, I couldn't find 5 that I was taking in front of him. I said definitively Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen is a toss-up. Now, if we're talking about physical ability alone, you're taking Josh Allen over Jared Goff. But Josh Allen is going to cost you a lot of games with those turnovers. You could see what happened in the beginning of the season. Well, in the first half of the season last year, they were they were in danger. They were in danger because Josh Allen wasn't playing well. He was throwing a lot of picks, fumbles, just a lot of turnovers, and they were just their offense wasn't in sync. Obviously, they had a Stephon Diggs problem. They'll probably be better this year offensively because Stephon Diggs is not there, even though I know they lost Gabe Davis. But Stephon Diggs was like addition by subtraction. And then they got Keon Coleman. So we'll see what happens to them on offense. But here's the thing with Josh Allen. Now that, okay, let's say that Keon Coleman is the only thing that they have. Josh Allen's going to play hero ball. It's the same situation that we're looking at with Caleb Williams. Like, Caleb Williams may be great or he may be a bust. And if he's a bust, it's because they can't get him to stop playing hero ball in Chicago. But I think they've insulated him with getting him 3 fantastic receivers as targets to stop him from playing hero ball. It's like, why do I need to play hero ball when I've got Rome Odunze, Keenan Allen, and DJ Moore? Just take what's there and throw the ball. But so the thing with Josh Allen is now he's going to be in a position to play hero ball. We know what happens when Josh Allen plays hero ball. He throws interceptions, and he throws them at the wrong time. He's like Matt Stafford. But anyway, Jalen Hurts was another one where I said, okay, well, I'm not going to say it definitively. Right? I'm not. So the point is, Jared Goff, in my assessment, just based off of looking around the league and saying, are you taking this guy over Jared Goff? Not based on potential. We're not talking about Anthony Richardson. We're not talking about any rookies. We're not talking about Trevor Lawrence. We're not talking about these guys who have potential, but they haven't realized the potential yet. And Anthony Richardson, we don't know what his realizing potential looks like, because if he can't learn how to not be a fullback out there, he's going to have a lot of injuries. So I think one season-ending shoulder injury should be enough for him to be like, okay, I got to learn how to get down and not take these hits. But again, name me 5 quarterbacks, not based on what they used to be, not based on what they might be in the future, based on what they are now. Name me 5 quarterbacks that you are taking definitively over Jared Goff. And I think if you're being fair and unbiased, I don't think you can name me 5. I just don't think you can. Mile Marcus says growth, and Goff has been through the ringer. His personal integrity and strength has matured. He's all lion now. And that's the point. That's the point. Growth, development. That has happened. That has happened. All of the Goff haters who are inside of our fan base. Growth has happened, bro. Development has happened. Like I said, year 1, I did not want him here. Did not. Get him out of here on the first thing smoking. And I said it many times. Get him out of here. He is a bridge quarterback. He was only brought in from the deal to sweeten the deal. They were like, look, man, we'll give you all this stuff for Stafford, but we need you to take somebody off our hands. We're going to need you to take this contract. Jared Goff was a contract. When he came here, he wasn't a quarterback. He was a contract. It's a bad contract, and we need you to take it. And maybe it'll take you a year to get out from underneath, and then you can go ahead and get you a solid quarterback and ship this guy out to, I don't know, what's Atlanta or something. Like, like just ship him out to Cleveland. Let him back up Deshaun Watson. Just ship him somewhere. Who knows? I think this was before the Deshaun Watson thing, right? But just ship him somewhere. Don't let him, don't 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 let him, clog up your books anymore. And that's what he was when he came here. But growth and development, as we have said. Um, Roy says 4.1 speed is like having an atomic weapon on your roster. Who's 4.1? Who runs? Oh, you're talking about JMO. Does JMO really run a 4.1? I don't know. I think he runs a 4.2. But I mean, there's not much difference between 4.2 and 4.1. If we're being honest, it's a step or two, right? Um, can't wait to beat the Packers twice this year. JMO is faster than Tyreek after 10 yards. Bro, I mean, like I said, it's going to be crazy. It is going to be crazy. Um, Polarization is ignorance. Ben Johnson is better than Sean McVay. Um, John F. and Lord said, I wonder, it's Tom Brady trying to uh, make a joke about the inflation gate on the roast, pissed off Bill. I don't know. I still haven't seen the roast and I need to watch it. I was busy studying pretty hard for this IT certification that I did not really get to check it out. So I definitely need to check that out. And I know John F. and Lord is gone, but I just wanted to catch up on the chat a little bit. So Roy says Sean's a dysfunctional nerd. Uh, yes. So anyway, guys, that is pretty much it. Make sure that you smash that like button. I know some people got out of here before I made sure that they smashed the like button, but I think they smashed it anyway. Share, man. Share the stream. It does wonders for the engagement. It does wonders for the algorithm. YouTube really likes it when you share streams and smash like buttons. And for the schedule release, yes, mile marker. It's only it's tomorrow. So yeah, we're looking forward to it, looking to see when we are going to exact our revenge on the 49ers and the Cowboys. I mean, Green Bay, that doesn't really matter too much, right? We're playing them twice a year. Obviously, we want to go to Green Bay first. You want to go to Green Bay first, and you want it to be early in the season, obviously, so we don't have to worry about Lambeau Field and the frigid conditions and things of this nature. But like I said, guys, that is going to be all for me today. I appreciate everyone that came and hung out. I appreciate everyone. I appreciate you listening. And